Stop where you are, my child. Before you move farther in the direction that your fatigue is dragging you, I need you to listen to me. Only a few hours ago, you let out that sigh. You believed it was ignored. I heard it, each and every breath. I didn't miss a second of what you've been carrying. Furthermore, I'm not talking to you today to go over old territory. I'm talking to you because what you are about to leave is not what you believe it to be. And if you depart, right now, you will wonder for years why you moved away at that particular time before you hear what I have to say. Never give up on that individual. Not quite yet. Not right now. I am fully aware of the pain that hearing that sentence causes you. I am aware of the weight of your experiences with them. I am aware of the too long silences, the words that fell like cuts, the times you gave your everything and got what seemed like nothing in return. Come back. I am aware of the evenings you scrutinized every exchange in an attempt to find something that would indicate this was worthwhile. I saw it all. And I can assure you with all the power of heaven that you have not been squandering your time. You've been right where I asked you to be. If you believe, say amen. Nobody accidentally enters your life in my realm. Nobody. Not the ones who remained, not the ones who departed. Not this one either. Even when you hear these words, the name of that person is currently on your mind. My hand guided everyone who has ever entered your globe. Additionally, this individual, this particular soul that has put your tolerance and love to the test. They weren't in your way by accident. They were positioned. There on purpose. A design so exact and meticulously crafted that you would gasp if I showed you the entire image at this moment. I haven't yet shown you the entire image. Anything's not that I'm keeping anything from you. Rather, the part you are. Life in at the moment is still being written. You are in what appears to be a defeated chapter. However, in my opinion, this is the chapter just before everything changes when considering the entire narrative. You've been observing this person's shortcomings, their quiet, their remoteness, and their incapacity to meet you where you are. You have come to the conclusion that you are pouring yourself into a ground that will never yield anything as a result of what you have witnessed. On this, I need you to hear me clearly. It's not barren what you think it is. The ground is not yet ready for its season. The seed that you have been nurturing with your patience, love, tears, and stubbornness to give up. It's a living seed. It is operating below the surface in areas that are invisible to the human eye. It is also the harvest. You will be amazed by the preparation. I put you in that person's life because you possess something that they are unable to obtain from anybody else. Not because you're flawless, not because you don't have any wounds of your own, but because I left a unique grace in you, a unique frequency of love that is the only thing that can access the parts of themselves that are locked and defended. I saw what they were destined to become, while others thought they weren't worth the effort. And when they were unable to hold that vision themselves, I put my trust in you. This partnership has served as both an assignment and a reflection. I've been revealing aspects of yourself to you through what transpires between you, fears that must be confronted, areas of your own heart that are still recovering. This season forced you to use strengths you were unaware you possessed. There has been a reason to all of this. Every challenging experience has been doing something to you that would never have been possible under more mild circumstances. When this started, you weren't the same person. You've become stronger, more profound, and more capable of carrying the kind of love I intended for you. If this word is reaching your spirit, say, I believe. I want to tell you something about the person you are considering leaving. It is not because your love is inadequate that they have rejected you. They have never stood in front of a light, which explains why, this pure earlier, the darkest and most defensive aspects of who they are directly confronted by your presence in their lives. The distance, the solitude, the chill, the walls they have constructed. These do not prove that you are unimportant to them. They are proof that you mean more to them than they can comprehend. People don't erect barriers against unimportant things. They erect barriers to prevent things from changing. Them. Additionally, you are subtly and gradually altering them. In the areas where I operate, that are invisible to the human eye. I have been going to see them during the peaceful times, when there is a pause between sleeping and waking, and when there isn't much noise around. The reality of their feelings is all that's left after them vanish, and at those moments I've been offering them a picture of their existence without you. The void, the absence, the unique and priceless quality that only you can provide. They are not yet prepared to speak it aloud. However, something is changing. The earth is shifting. Although they are not yet apparent from the outside, the walls are beginning to break. A wall that is about to collapse should not be abandoned. There won't be a big announcement about what is about to happen. Like all true things, they will arrive in silence, a gentleness in their communication with you, an unexpectedly vulnerable moment that caught you off guard. A seemingly insignificant gesture that only you would understand has deep significance. A communication at a surprising time. A glance that conveys more than words have been permitted to. These don't happen by accident. They are the earliest outward manifestations of a change that has been going on for a while in the invisible world. More than you are aware of. Keep an eye out for them. Don't write them off as insignificant. Before it blankets the sky, the first light of dawn is always tiny. I'm asking you, my kid, to take one concrete step toward trust, right now. Not due to your statements or your waiting has not been sufficient, because faith, which only exists in the heart and never in the hand, has not yet fully shown. Let go of some of what you are holding, as a tangible act of surrender. Place it on the altar of this work, the manor. Before any indication of rain, a farmer presses seed into the earth. The seed doesn't wait for evidence to, penetrates the ground. It has faith in the earth, and the earth fulfills its purpose. Here, sow your seed, with the assurance of someone who has heard my voice today and decided to believe it. Let it go, and observe how I react to a faith that is open to change. Let me now discuss the sign you have been requesting. In the silence of your own thoughts, in the room, you have been pleading for it. In the half-formed hopes you were nearly scared to embrace, between words and prayers, you requested that I show you something that would clarify things and provide you with enough assurance to continue. And I want you to pay close attention to what I am going to tell you. This is the sign you requested. It came as soon as you heard these words. I brought your attention here, not because words are wonderful. I took you to this point. That doesn't happen by accident. I don't guide my kids into situations that don't benefit them. The recognition of these words by something within you. The fact that they really landed somewhere rather than merely on the surface. The fact that when you were listening, you thought about that person's name. These don't happen by accident. These are responses. There won't be a sign. The time has come. Whether I have spoken is not the question. I want to know if you are open to accepting what I have stated. On some nights, you slept while still carrying. The query, is this going to change at all? Am I squandering my life? Is any of this true? In the dark, with no one to impress and no performance to uphold, you ask those questions honestly. I heard all of them. I also want you to know that none of them went unanswered. I have received, held, and am currently addressing every question you have ever asked me, in a sincere search. I don't disregard my kids' sincere screams. I just don't always respond in the manner or at the time that the human mind anticipates. State, I hope you feel that this is a part of your life right now. You've been anticipating an external sign, something that cannot be denied. Something that completely eliminates the need for faith. However, I need you to comprehend a little bit about the nature of signs. A sign is not a sign if it doesn't need faith. It's a demonstration. I don't work by demonstrations. I work by trust. Because the only setting where transformation truly takes hold is faith. You wouldn't be a part of your own tale if I eliminated all doubt and just showed you the result. The person who matters is the participant. It is the participant who develops. It is the participant who, when they are, standing in the totality of what I promised, you can see from the inside how much it cost and how valuable it was. You take part in this. You've always been one. Additionally, the involvement you have provided by being patient, your reluctance to give up, your decision to continue loving even though your instincts told you to stop, is not insignificant. One of the most important things I have ever seen you accomplish is that it has not been squandered. It has been constructing something. Allow me to explain what is going to happen in the real world. The areas that were frozen are starting to thaw. The circumstances that appeared to be unchangeable are gradually starting to change. Things will start to change in ways that seem almost little, yet you will recognize them as significant. A dialogue that comes naturally to you. An atmosphere that has long felt antagonistic is relaxing. A door, securely shut, started to sway on its hinges. These aren't made up. These are the initial outward manifestations of the arrangements I have been making in the invisible. Because they are not big enough, do not ignore them. Seldom does my work make an announcement. It starts tiny. From there, it grows. The anxieties that had consumed your thoughts are starting to fade. This isn't wishful thinking. When my word reaches a willing heart, this is the inevitable outcome. Your chest has been constricted by anxiety, the faint buzz of dread that never stops, the insomnia that resulted from having too many questions. These items are starting to come out. I'm settling something in your soul that is independent of circumstances, not because your circumstances have already altered. In the midst of the unsolved, there is a peace. I have the right to grant that tranquility. I'm handing it to you right now. Declare, I receive this today. If your heart is open, I'd want to talk about the true purpose of our connection right now. Because your perspective has been too limited. You've been wondering if the expense of this connection is worthwhile. Although the inquiry is correct, the frame is incorrect. What it is costing you is not the true question. What it is creating is the true question. Additionally, it is creating something that transcends the two of you. What is being constructed by your compliance in? This season is more than just a reconciliation. It is a testament, a live example of something that the world is sorely in need of witnessing. That love endures. That patience is a sign of tremendous strength rather than weakness. I have the power to transform two broken individuals into something that neither of them could have produced on their own. You will not be the only one affected by this. It will be seen by strangers. It will reach discussions that haven't yet occurred. It will eventually reach the kids who will see what you created and learn a lesson about love. This is work that spans generations. I do this kind of thing with people who were prepared to stay even though every sensible voice told them to leave. This task did not wind up with you since it was supposed to be simple. I knew you could, therefore you ended up in it. Take it with you, not without expense or suffering, but with the depth of character I knew you possessed, even when you were unsure. You've shown me to be correct. Not flawlessly, not without faltering, yet you have continued to return. You've continued to decide to stay. And all that is going to be built is predicated on that decision that was made repeatedly over uncertain seasons. Your tears were seeds, each and every one. They did not vanish when they sank into the earth. They are evolving into something. They're going to show up. The arrival of the crop is not announced. It just shows up. When it happens, you'll know right away that the sowing was worthwhile. Let me now tell you something about yourself. It's about you, not the circumstance or that individual. You've been wondering if you're sufficient. Whether you are capable of seeing things through, whether your love is sufficient, and whether your patience has been sufficient. I would like to respond to those questions in a straightforward manner. You are sufficient. It's not that you did a flawless job. Rather, it's because I gave you exactly what this task calls for. I didn't grant you this calling and deny you the resources you needed to fulfill it. I don't operate like that. Together, the calling and the equipment showed up. This season has molded you into a more capable version of yourself than you realize. Formation was what appeared to be erosion. In order to make room for what is permanent, what appeared to be things being taken away was actually the elimination of things that were never supposed to be there. It's establishing you. Because of everything you have gone through to get here, the earth beneath you is firmer than it has ever been. Don't allow the adversary to persuade you that the problem was a sign of failure. It was proof of formation, and I can now trust the person who was formed in it for what is ahead. It's a good thing that will happen next. I firmly believe what I say when I say that. The upcoming season is not more of the same. It is distinct, qualitatively distinct. Your life's atmosphere is evolving. It's lifting the reluctance that has made everything seem like wading through deep water. What used to take a lot of work will start to feel more effortless. The discussions will proceed in a different way. There will be a certain quality to the interactions. The relationship that has caused you the most fatigue will eventually grow to be one of your biggest sources of strength. That promise isn't ambiguous. It's a real, concrete phenomenon that's already happening. I am the God who rewards loyalty. I don't turn away. I ask my kids to stay in difficult situations. I can see it. I take a video of it. I answer it. Additionally, Your answer to what you have given this season will be worth the expense. Know three things as you move forward from this point on. Throughout every day of this, you are not by yourself. Not one. I was there for every challenging discussion and every restless night. It would have been easier if you had stayed for every second. I was present. Secondly, all of your efforts have been worthwhile. Waste is not allowed in my kingdom's economy. Every loving deed, every cry, every prayer, and every decision to give grace when you're feeling low. Everything matters. Everything builds up. Everything is aimed at something you will witness. Thirdly, the sign you requested is genuine. It's here. This is not a coincidence. It is not coincidental that you are in it. You came here because of something. Have faith in that. Have faith in the person who sent you. Allow your soul to sink into the reality of what I've said today, not as a fleeting solace that disappears as you return to the challenge, as a starting point and a fresh point of reference for all that follows. You arrived at this moment bearing the burden of a query. You're leaving it with a response. Not every detail was fixed. Not every result is certain, but the most crucial element is in place. You've been heard. We've seen you. You're not by yourself, and you have no idea how important what you are doing is. I adore you in a way that does not change based on how well you perform, or whether you have doubts. It just is. And you own it totally. Now allow me to delve farther with you. But first, I want to talk about something that you might have been reluctant to bring up. To me, beneath all the other questions, you have been holding this one. The individual residing in the most genuine and profound aspect of you. You've been wondering if I'm real. Whether any of this is genuinely truth, regardless of whether the faith you have been choosing to cling to points to something real or something. To go through the challenges, all you had to do was have faith. I don't penalize that query. It seems like the most sincere thing you've given me in a long time. And I respond. I always respond to inquiries honestly and truthfully. Not with a performance that avoids your skepticism, but with something that touches the part of you that is already aware of the distinction between the real and the fake. You already know I'm real because you felt me, not because someone told you. When you are unable to completely describe, in the serenity that came without cause, in the notion of being imprisoned on the darkest nights when nothing in your immediate environment should have caused you to feel that way. In the peculiar turn of events that coincided in ways that were too exact to be chance, you have proof of your own. You've been ignoring it or handling it cautiously since the environment around you makes you are wary of sharing what you know in private. However, you already know, and I'm confirming it today. I am genuine. I am present. I'm talking to you now, and what I'm saying is accurate. Let me now discuss a topic that has caused uncertainty this season: the quiet. The times where it seemed as though heaven had become silent, as if your prayers were hitting a ceiling and going unanswered. It was as if you were talking into a vacant room with no response. I must describe what was truly taking place during those quiet moments, because your future behavior depends on the explanation. I didn't keep quiet. I was operating at a level that was beyond the range of your senses. The majority of the work I perform on people takes place beneath the surface of what is apparent in their inner regions of understanding, religion, and character. I have to be silent for that work. It's the quiet of intense focus, not the quiet of absence. When a craftsman stops talking when the job reaches its most crucial point, he or she is still involved in the project. They are most prevalent in it. Those silences were just that. From the outside, the tremendous presence appeared to be absence. That person has likewise been experiencing this. They are undergoing changes at a level that they are unable to completely comprehend or explain them. What is changing inside of them is beyond their vocabulary. They might not even be aware of it yet. However, it is taking place. I'm working on the secret areas of their interior, life in ways that won't be apparent until they manifest in word, gesture, and action. The most intense change frequently occurs during what appears to be a period of no change on the outside. Even though everything is going on inside the seed, it doesn't appear any different from the outside. Even if you can't see the process, have faith in it. This is the main thing I want from you. Not blind, trust-informed trust. Trust that is founded on knowing how I operate and deciding to conform to such concept even in situations that do not yet support it. Additionally, I would like to talk to you regarding the identity that has been given to you this season. It's not simply the part you've played in that person's story. It's the person you are becoming as a result of playing it. You entered this season with a theoretical understanding of unconditional love. You're going to leave it, or more accurately, going through it as someone who is very familiar with it. Your character now possesses the knowledge that was previously in your mind. That is a very different kind of knowing. It is the type that stays put when things get tough. It is the type that maintains its shape in the face of. It is putting pressure on it. A year ago, you could not have carried the grace that you do today. A patience that was developed in the precise setting I created. A level of empathy that originated from actually going through anything that cost you. These purchases are hardly modest. I use these attributes to make changes in the world. Those that have been sculpted in precisely the same way are the ones I operate through most effectively. In this manner, they have discovered what it means to stay not just in theory. I want you to know more about the nature of what you are carrying, and why I chose you to carry it. So let me go deeper with you now. I don't assign tasks to folks at random. I don't give the weakest vessels the hardest callings. I delegate the most difficult tasks to those I have meticulously prepared, and most of the time they underwent preparation through the same kind of challenges that they are currently being expected to overcome. You didn't just happen to be in this season. Everything that preceded it, including the lessons learned, the losses, and the seasons that caused you to open up, it all built up to the particular ability you now possess to carry out what I am requesting of you. Consider what it has demanded of you to remain. True patience, the kind that doesn't perform for a crowd, but when there's nothing to show for it, it's silently held in private. True love, the kind that is independent of its. Gives because it is in their nature to give, but they also receive in return. Genuine faith, not the type that holds on to belief when conditions work together, but it's the kind that endures in the dark when nothing is apparent. These are not minor issues. These are the characteristics of a person I can use to support my testimony, and this is turning into a testimonial. Even though you can't feel their eyes, everyone around you is observing. What you do with your relationship is being observed by those who are in the midst of their own unworkable relationships. Truth travels, not because you are showcasing it. People will be impacted by the way you carry this in ways you may never understand in this life. Even when it seems completely private, your faithfulness is not private. It involves leaving your mark on a greater narrative than your own. I want to talk to you about trust right now. In particular, on what it means to trust me while you are unable to see what I am doing. A sense of certainty is not the same as trust. The decision to act as though what I stated is real even though you can't yet verify it is known as trust. You've been residing in the discrepancy between my commitment and its seeming realization. That gap is hardly proof that I have forgotten. Faith resides in the gap. Character is developed in the gap. Since the gap is the only setting in which my kids may grow, it's where the deepest work I do with them truly takes place. Come to rely on me instead of their own comprehension. It has been a long time since you were in that gap. I am aware that it has been a while. I don't discount its length or the weight of it. But when I tell you that the distance is closing, I need your attention. It's not limitless what has seemed endless. It is advantageous, and that edge is closer than you've been able to believe because of your exhaustion. I am a seasonal god. Because I created humans to require them, I created the world to function through them. The challenging. Seasons change with time. They change with the seasons. Winter doesn't endure forever. Not because the world was fortunate, but rather because I incorporated the changing of the seasons into the fundamental framework of how things operate. Your winter is coming to an end. Even though you can't feel the turning from where you are, I can see it from where I am. Beneath the surface, the ground is warming. Things that appeared to remain motionless are starting to move. You may trust that the turning is taking place even if you don't feel it. You just have to stay. Remain. I'm only asking for that. Hold fast to your faith. One more day, and then another. Not through performance, not through clenched teeth. Remain true to the fact that you are choosing to trust me despite the fact that this is difficult. Heaven is moved by such kind of staying. Not the polished type that acts as though nothing is wrong. The truthful. Sort that declares, I'm having trouble, but I still believe. I've witnessed your struggle. I'm not impatient because of it. Alongside you, I am now closer to you because of it. My presence is densest in the areas of you that feel the most broken, since they are the areas that most need what I alone can provide. In your frailty, you have not been abandoned. You are unaware of how closely you have been held in it. I now want to share with you some information concerning the upcoming days. Real terms, not ambiguous ones. The discussions that once seemed unattainable will now be feasible. Not all at once, and not effortlessly. However, there will be an unmistakable change in the quality of your relationship with that person. You're going to have an unexpected chat that opens a long-closed door. That conveys more information through silence than through spoken words. When it occurs, you will be aware of it. You'll recognize it as the first tangible manifestation of what I told you. Your dreams, which you had all but given up on, still exist. I'm aware that you have been cautious with your hope, guarding it and keeping it modest to lessen the letdown. Big. I'm pleading with you to make it bigger once more, not carelessly, but sincerely. Because it is not faith if hope remains little in order to shield itself from suffering. And right now, I need faith from you, not caution. I need you to see the potential of this. I've already seen what it will turn into. And let that vision be powerful enough to get you through the times when the promise is not yet materialized. You won't be sorry to remain. I tell you that in an unqualified and straightforward manner. You will comprehend when you are on the other side of this season and reflect on the day you nearly left but decided to stay. Everything. The challenge will make sense. The time will make sense. The manner in which things transpired will make sense. And you'll be appreciative in a way that comes only from having experienced something. Actual. That instead of listening to the voice that told you it was over, you listen to this one. It's not finished yet. It's not even near the end. It's going to start in a way you haven't seen yet. There will be serenity in your home, true tranquility. The kind that is the presence of something living, cozy, and comforting, rather than merely the lack of conflict. The strain that is in the air will rise. The guardedness will become less intense. The walls will collapse, gradually at first, and then in a way that is unexpectedly comprehensive. Additionally, something new will be constructed in the area created after the walls collapse. Something that neither of you could have built by yourself. Something that truly wouldn't be feasible without me. Therefore, it has my fingerprints all over it. I do this. In the ruins, I construct things that the builders claimed were impossible. I repair what was deemed beyond repair by all. I build roads where there didn't seem to be any. That wording isn't poetic. That's exactly how I operate. And I'm working in such manner, correct? Currently in the particulars of your circumstance, the circumstances of your relationship with that other, and both of your secret inner lives, I want to talk to you about dread, because beneath the tiredness, there is more to the decision of whether to stay or leave. Fear exists, and I want to identify it precisely so that it loses some of its strength when it is named. You fear that remaining will result in additional suffering, that if you put in more effort, you'll get more of the same disappointment, coldness, or silence in return. Because you will have taken the more difficult route and reached the same dead end. You will have spent more money than you can afford as a result of that hope. That terror is audible to me. I get it. It's a fair reaction to what you've experienced. Furthermore, I'm not discounting it or telling you that it's incorrect to experience it. I am telling you that it is predicated on an imperfect image. The concern is making assumptions about the future based on the past, believing that things will stay the same, that the design is set in stone. However, the pattern is not set in stone. I'm currently breaking the exact same pattern. Fear is a projection. It takes the information from the past and moves it forward in a straight line. However, I don't travel in a straight line. I move in ways that were not predicted by the statistics. I create things, feasible that all sensible calculations indicated were not feasible. That's not an overstatement of my skills. It sums up who I am. I am the unexpected God. Reversal, the God of the unexpected, the God who creates a path at the exact moment when each path seems to be blocked. You are very afraid. Your past is authentic. In the midst of both of those realities, I am also fully capable of doing something completely different. It is not a question of my ability. The challenge is whether you can choose faith while allowing the fear to exist. That is the appearance of true faith, not the lack of dread. the existence of trust in addition to it, holding both simultaneously and deciding which one to take action from. Be trustworthy, not because I'm no longer afraid, but because you've heard my voice today and you sense that it's true. Let the awareness outweigh the dread. Let it dictate what you do next. I want to talk about something else. This season's loneliness. The unique type of loneliness that results from carrying something so unique and intimate that the majority of those around, even if you attempted to explain, you were unable to comprehend it completely. The solitude of a true calling that is difficult to share. The experience of dealing with anything that appears on the exterior, such as obstinacy or immobility. But that's very different from what you know on the inside. You're not obstinate. You are devoted. Those two statements are very different from one another, and I am aware of which one applies to you. Stubbornness is resistant to change. Even in the face of constant external pressure to change, faithfulness upholds morality. The latter is what you have been doing, resisting the want to let go of something genuine. That is not a weakness in character. That is both a virtue and one. I cherish it greatly. The loneliness won't last forever. There will be a community. There will be an understanding. Your life is being targeted by those who have experienced similar things and survived. You won't have to handle this on your own all the time. The isolated endurance season is coming to an end. It is followed by a time of mutual strength and recognition in your genuine narrative by those who can share it with you and have starting to impart the lessons you've learned from carrying this. You're getting close. Closer than you realize. Give it a bit more time. I want to talk to the part of you that still has the particular inquiry into the individual. It's the specific silent question you've been hesitant to voice aloud, not the wider question of whether to continue. Does this person really love me? Have they really seen me? Do I mean anything real is the inquiry? To them, or am I just a presence they've been accustomed to? I provide a straight response. They have always been able to see you. They haven't yet been able to express it or demonstrate it in a way that makes sense to you. The difference between the place and its expression is precisely where I work. I'm constructing a bridge to bridge that gap, and I'm relocating the locked inside portion of them. Part that is aware of their emotions but has been prevented from expressing them due to history and fear, and the type of they will be able to cure a wound that does not heal without the particular kind of patience you have been providing. Explain it more and more clearly, but not flawlessly or right away. As the modifications I'm making to them arrive at the surface, you'll start to perceive things in tiny and eventually bigger ways that you were never as. You were constantly present in their minds, just as the quiet made you feel invisible to them. Keep this in mind and come back to it on difficult days. When they turned away from you, it wasn't because you didn't mean anything, but rather because you meant too much and they didn't know how to handle it. It's what I see from the perspective that sees everything, not wishful thinking. Underneath the barriers, you are known by the person you have been loving, respected, and incredibly thankful for. The gift of your presence, even if they are unable to articulate how that is evolving. The phrase is, coming, stay for it. Do so because I'm asking you to, because what you're waiting for is genuine, and because the finale your tiredness has been picturing is not as lovely as the version of the story that is taking place in my hands. I will be by your side every single step of the way. You are not entering the future by yourself. Rather, you are entering it with the God who created it, who is in control of it, and who has a specific and active interest in your well-being. This is not the conclusion. Rather, it is the pivotal moment where the narrative changes. Step forward into the moment when you'll look back and remark, that was when things began to change. As, I am the God who honors his word. Therefore take this with you as a compass for each day that comes after. All of the promises I have made regarding your life are still in effect. None of them have expired. Not a single one has been remembered. The person who created them is holding them, and they won't let go. Remember what I said here today when the days are difficult, as a living word that is still active, still working, and still moving, rather than as a nostalgic memory, toward its realization in every aspect of your circumstances. Use what I've spoken today as a compass for the voyage, and let it help you find your way when you're lost. It's not a momentary consolation. When the voices of doubt become stronger than the voices of faith, let it call you back. Above all, never forget that you are absolutely and unconditionally adored. that love is the foundation upon which you stand. It never changes or falters, and you own it completely. I want to share with you what devoted love accomplishes in the domain of the invisible, because your decisions have more effects than you can perceive from your current position. For example, when you decide to remain in love with someone who... You're not just being patient with one individual. You're fighting a tide that hasn't yet learned how to accept it. People are taught by the world to leave when things get tough. It tells children that love must be simple or it is unreal. It teaches kids that their own comfort and protection are the top virtues. Every time you have chosen differently, every time you have shown grace, when the world would have declared you were entitled to withhold it, you have been pushing back against that flood. And that pushback counts not just for you, not just for that person, but for the greater tale of what love is and what it can do. You're demonstrating something, not for show. You're proving in private, on the dull, everyday days, that love is more powerful than disappointment, that it believes that it is ultimately stronger than any force that attempts to terminate it too soon. That demonstration carries weight in a realm that is invisible to the human eye. It is being honored, it is counting, and it is registering. I would like you to be aware of my provision, my concern for your practical life, and your spiritual one. I'm not so preoccupied with the greater matters that I've neglected your everyday needs. I am aware of the pressures associated with this time of year. The burden you bear is both practical and emotional. Dimensions to the challenges you have been facing, and I want you to know that I am not missing them, from them. Real doors are opening, not just symbolic ones. There are now opportunities that were previously unattainable. Resources that appeared unattainable are now accessible, and those who possess what you require are being pointed in your direction. This is not wishful thinking. Rather, it is a direct outcome of your loyalty during the more difficult times. I make a way where there was no way, open what was closed, and double what was insufficient in order to honor that type of faithfulness with sustenance. I supply what was lacking. The grace that has been accumulating on your account is about to manifest itself in tangible and useful ways. In your home, in your health, and in the aspects of your life that have been most stressful. Keep an eye out for it, accept it when it arrives, and don't automatically discard someone who has already let you down. Accept it for what it is, proof of a parent who observes and cares for every aspect of his child's existence. In your faith, you have made genuine requests that are worthy of genuine answers, and those answers are on the way. Before we part ways, let me mention one last thing about our relationship. That is, the one you have with your father, and that I am not aloof from you. I've never been. The quiet that perhaps seemed distant was actually the quiet of a very close parent, and working very quietly. This is how a craftsman becomes silent, when the process is at its most delicate. Even at the most difficult times I was present. They were where I was most present, and I urge you to remember that in everything that follows today. Come to me not only in times of desperation, but also in everyday situations. Talk to me, not only while everything is collapsing, but also when things are peaceful. Incorporate me into the plans, the minor choices, and the ordinary days, because I don't want a crisis-based level of intimacy with you. It permeates every hour, every dialogue, every dawn, and every gloomy night. That's the kind of relationship I intended for you, not a distance interspersed with emergency communications. Constant, sincere, daily intimacy. What lies ahead of you is wonderful, really good, and you will be fine, better than fine. The sort that has been held, prepared, and unleashed just for you this season. Accept it. You were meant for it. I see you, I hold you. By no means am I done with what I began in your life. We solely provide viewer support. To access special member-only content, scan the QR code or view the pinned remark. May God bless you.